Hello, welcome to the Money Adjustment. I'm your host, Dr. Mark Kramer, DC. I am a chiropractor who loves investing and trading. Are you interested in what's moving markets and your money? Great. Me too. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a guest joining us whom I've personally followed for years, someone who doesn't just talk about charts and indicators, but dives deep into what many seasoned traders believe is the absolute cornerstone of market success, mastering the trader within. Our guest is Anmol Singh. Anmol has been immersed in the trading world for roughly 15 years, getting started back in 2010 when he was just 18 years old. He honed his skills trading for a prop firm in his early 20s and has since gone on to coach thousands of traders, even working with individuals who run their own hedge funds, assisting them specifically with the psychological aspects of their trading. My personal journey with Anmol's work began years ago as a viewer of the YouTube channel he co-ran with Jared Wesley called Live Traders. Watching his videos starting around 2020, I gained a significant amount of knowledge about using technical analysis in trading. What makes our conversation today particularly exciting for me is that I also hold a bachelor's degree in psychology. Anmol's perspective aligns perfectly with my academic background as he views trading itself as perhaps the biggest personal development journey one can ever embark upon. As the author of the book, Prepping for Success, Anmol's work is dedicated to helping traders build the mental framework needed for consistent profitability. Today, Anmol is here to delve deep into these psychological principles, sharing his expertise on how to build the mindset required to navigate the complexities of the market. Given my background in psychology and years of learning from his technical analysis approach, I am particularly eager to explore the internal game of trading with him. Please join me in welcoming Anmol to the Money Adjustment.
But then you get to a certain point and you want a little bit of depth and richness to give the other things a broader context. And I think that's what you're doing when you're talking about the mindset and bringing the psychology.
Yeah, because if you take a look, I mean, the social media, you're absolutely right. Like, we got to do all these different things, and it's kind of annoying, even when I try to do it. But if you really look at it, the top podcasts or the top YouTube channels, they are conversational. They just have good conversations. Like Joe Rogan, there's no like clickbaity title. It's just like, hey, Joe Rogan with this person, right? Or if you look at the top podcasts, they're all conversation. None of them do the hook, story, close thing or any of that stuff. Those are done at a smaller level to build the audience in the beginning, right? To build the audience, to get some attention. But once you get it, then people want to see authentic conversations, because if all it is just like a hook or this and there's no substance to it, then eventually those podcasts don't last because people move on. You might get the initial attention, but if you don't keep the attention, they're going to leave. And then the podcasts that have kept the attention, like Joe Rogan, some of the other ones that I watch, are more conversational and have some depth to it. I think those are the ones that last like a much longer time, because these algorithmic things come and go, they change. But the true content will always stay.
Sure, hit record. So we are definitely recording this time.
All right.
So you just asked me what a day in the markets, and I'm thinking to myself, I want to get your thoughts on this, because this is where my headspace was at on Friday. I knew the China trade talks were coming. Like, that was the big weekend story. And I saw it being somewhat of a binary event, meaning the market is trading at a level where it could have a big move in either direction. And if there was escalation on the trade talks, which was hard to imagine because it's already pretty escalated, then it would have gone down significantly. And as long as there wasn't escalation, and the fact that we had de-escalation made it just shoot up to the upside.
Right.
But what was your thinking going into the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I had a few positions that were starting to look pretty good, but I will say that I was kind of like, it could have gone either way, as you said. It could have gone either way. I had one short going into today, and I had like 4 or 5 longs. So luckily, the short I got out in the morning took a loss, but then all the longs went up like a good amount, which made it all worthwhile.
Did you do a short to hedge?
Yeah, like I wanted to have one short at least, just in case, right?
Right.
But yeah, so in the morning, the longs did really well. I had Tesla, Nike, UPS, long, and they all gapped up big time. So
Were these swing trades, or
Swing
they
trade.
had to be swing because
Yeah.
if you left them open, do you
Yeah.
get anxious when you're leaving a trade open overnight?
Not really, no. Unless I have like all longs, and probably, a little bit. But if the setup's there, like you just gotta trust the setup.
Now, these trades you had going into this weekend, did you already have them on, or did you take them on Friday?
No, no, I was in them like Monday or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
so is that usual for you? Will you take a trade like a week in advance?
Yeah, swing trades are often ones we hold on for, a few days, few weeks, typically.
Okay.
So yeah, these were open since a couple week or so ago, and they were kind of trading around break even. They weren't doing much, and then yeah, today just like rocket ship.
Yeah. Locked in some profits today.
I took a third off, still holding 2/3. So I had
Okay.
Tesla long at like 290 for a swing trade. It went up to like 322. So
Yeah, Tesla was a good move today.
I sold a third, still holding 2/3.
You said you're going to leave 2/3 of the position on. Do you have a price target on those?
Yeah, like I think maybe 330 would be the next target to take another third off on Tesla, and then hold maybe till 350 for the last third. But I raised the stop loss on all of them. It's basically at break even now. So worst case is I already took third profit, and the remainder 2/3. Worst case is we break even.
So you're protecting yourself to the downside, and there
Right.
was
Yeah. In
enough of
case.
an up move. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love this. Like, you only can talk like this with people who actually trade. So, all right, I'm going to bring the audience in now. My guest today is Anmol Singh. I have a whole introduction on Anmol that I recorded last time that I spoke with him. And because I recorded that introduction, I stopped when Anmol actually got on the call. So I didn't record any of mine and Anmol's call last time. So he graciously has come back on again. We're going to get into Anmol's psychology, because that's Anmol is positioning himself as, I like the way you said it, because it's just a quick reference to something that culturally people would recognize if they're interested in this stuff, but that television show Billions. So if you can just imagine Anmol in like, I only saw the first episode of that show. I don't get a chance to watch a lot of TV, and my wife is like, you have to watch this one. You're going to love it. You have to watch it. And, but I did see that first episode, and I believe Wendy Rhodes, not as spoiler alert here, Wendy Rhodes, when she comes out in that first episode, she's like wearing a dominatrix outfit.
Yeah.
So, all right, just get that image out of your head. But we have Anmol, who is positioning himself as a Wendy Rhodes from the psychological, like from what she actually does, not in what the other stuff was. That was just me being goofy.
Yeah. Without the dominatrix outfit.
Yeah, tell our audience about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So I've been trading the stock market since I was 18 years old. So I'm on my 15th year now, and started Live Traders in 2015. So that's 10 years in. And in the past, started originally writing articles for like Yahoo Finance, Motley Fool, a couple of these websites, and then joined a prop firm. So I would trade the company's money, and they would take a percentage of everything I made. There's like a desk of 100 plus traders. So I was just one of them. Joined the company, kind of worked my way up in the prop firm, and then eventually got into coaching. That's how I got into it. So the CEO of the company called me, said, "Hey, you're doing really well with the program, but a lot of people are, kind of struggling, not being able to get to the next level, not getting promoted. Do you want to like share with them what you did?" So that's how I originally got into like teaching and coaching, and because all the new hires they would bring in, like I would coach them, getting up to speed. And then in 2015 they got bought out, and then that's when I decided to start my own company. And I've been doing that ever since. I wrote Prepping for Success, 10 Keys for Making It in Life. It's purely a mindset psychology book. Then I have a success journal, which helps people apply everything they read in that book. And then I have my next book coming out this month, which is called Mastering the Trader Within. It's all on trading psychology.
I love that. When did you start writing The Trader Within?
A couple of years. It was originally it's a video course that I taught a while ago on that model, but then I wanted to turn it into like a book format, make it more accessible and affordable for people. So started a couple of years ago and then kept adding to it. It was originally like 120 something pages. Now it's up to like 250 pages. Finally felt good about where the writing was, and decided to put it out this month.
And that's awesome. I'm excited to read it. I told you I like the title because it has a spiritual vibe to it without necessarily being a spiritual book. But I think anytime you say within, it just challenges people to immediately just think about what your positioning is that it's not just being able to read a chart, but it's what's happening, in between the ear space.
Yeah, absolutely. Because anybody can learn how to trade, right? You give somebody a strategy, you teach them technical analysis. Everybody gets really good at spotting support, resistance. Like if we all know that, then why is it some people get the results and some don't, right? And difference comes down to your emotional control, your discipline, your ability to follow through on your trading plan, not being able to doubt, not doubting yourself, not hesitating, just like having that confidence when you see the trade that meets the plan, taking the trade, and once you take the trade, now following your plan until it's given, until the target or until the trade doesn't work out. And that's the biggest thing, because being in this 15 years, I've seen people come and go in this industry. It's like a revolving door. New people want to come in, they learn the lesson the hard way, they leave the revolving door. New people come in, so the people who stuck around are people who've mastered like themselves and their own mindset and their psychology and the ability to be sort of robotic indifference when it comes to trade, not getting too excited, not getting too down, just like being very centered.
Yeah. I'm thinking with your 15 years experience, one of the things is like when you're paying attention to the market for longer periods of time, you probably start to see like the macroeconomics a little bit more clearly. We never know what's going to, I mean, that's the thing with trading. You never know what's going to happen. That's why it's the game of it, is that you have to manage that risk reward. But when you're in it for longer periods of time, you start to see the macro like similarities over time. Like they're always talking about it doesn't repeat, the market doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So in your 15 years experience, like for example, the current market we're in, from my perspective, is it's a choppy market. We just went from like 2 years of an uptrend to like Chopsville. But every market, just being able to recognize what type of market it is within the various market structures that exist. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, pattern recognition, that's all that it is. The whole market is all about pattern recognition, you being able to recognize patterns. So the only difference between me and a newer trader is just that I've just seen more charts. I've just seen more patterns. I've just have more screen time. That's the only difference. There's no other difference between me and somebody starting off new. It's just that I've seen more charts, I've had more screen time, so I can spot patterns. A great analogy for that is, let's say if I have 5 pictures and I just put up a picture of the person and I say their name, right? And then I put the card down. I put up the next card. This person's name is John, and I put the card down. I show you another picture. This name is David, and I put the card down. Pick up another card. This name is Jason, and I put the card down. Now, if I pick up a random card, what's his name? Going to be, 20, 30% chance you're going to get it right. But there's still an 80% chance that you might get it wrong. You might miss out the names. But let's say if I do it again, I flip it again, and I keep doing it for over a course of like a month with you. Now your ability to recognize the name is going to go through the roof, right? It's just that I've seen more charts. So it's kind of like a movie where, let's say you watch the movie once, fine. Now let's say if you watch the movie 5 times, now 6th time when the scene is coming, you already know how it ends. You watch the movie several times before, you already know how it ends. So that's what pattern recognition really is when you see these things over and over, you're like, oh, I've seen this pattern before. I kind of know how it ends. And that's the whole idea about that, is like the more you just look at cue cards with the names, if I show them to you every single day for the next year, you're going to get 100% of them right. So that's what pattern recognition really is you being able to spot those patterns and be able to put 2 and 2 together, and you kind of then know how the movie ends.
Right. I love the way that you put that. And I think about that to my own experience, how as a chiropractor, one of the things we learn in chiropractic school is reading x-rays. So we're just seeing x-ray after x-ray after x-ray, and we're in these dark rooms and it's just bones after bones after bones, different body. But it's the same way of coming to an understanding where there's no way around the repetition of just seeing something over and over again and then seeing the variations, because you have to know what normal looks like to be able to tell what abnormal looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, no, I love it. It makes sense to what you were saying, and it fits to my own experience. I'm gonna backtrack a little bit here because I like your history is coming to me, and I'm thinking you got into this when you were 18 years old. What was going on in your mind as an 18-year-old to take this path?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I think this was the last thing I thought I'd ever do. Growing up, I was not very good with numbers. I was horrible at math. So the last thing I thought I'd be doing is something to do with numbers. But it was like, I was in my college, shy, introvert, and I moved to London to do my university degree. And there, like, I took it as like, I want to get out of my comfort zone. Like, I wanted to try everything. So I joined all the clubs and societies in college, entrepreneurship club, that society. And then I think it was one guy Dan, he came to me. He's like, hey, have you looked in the stock market? There's this thing, on CNBC you can watch. And I was like, I never really understood it. I never really know like what it was, but I was curious enough. Like I wanted to know, okay, why do stocks go up and down? Like who decides even when it goes up and goes down? Like I wanted to figure it out. So then I, contact people in college. I was like, hey, is there like an investment club or like a trading society or something I can join, just like you have for all the other interests in college? They're like, oh, we don't have something like that. And I was like, okay, why don't we start our own? I called the guy who told me about it first. I was like, why don't we just start like a trading and investment club, and we'll just meet up once a week and we'll just talk about maybe a book we read, maybe what we watched on CNBC, and try to like learn together. And it was like 1 or 2 members. It grew into like 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 members. And now many years later it's still a thriving club and society with hundreds of members.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
and we started that. Yeah, we just meet up once a week and talk about what we read and try to learn together. And then the more I started to learn, the more curious I became, the more I wanted to know, like, okay, why did it go up? Why did it go down? Like, I want to try to like piece it all together like a puzzle. And I used to play a lot of, Xbox and stuff like that, video games. So I had that mentality of like, to solve this puzzle. I wanted to solve this game. And it was very natural to me because, as I mentioned, being an introvert, always on my computer, it wasn't a big jump because I was still on the computer and just trying to figure it out myself. And what attracted to me was like, how in other careers, how well you do is determined on other people, your colleagues, your employees. You could be the best person in your company, but it's still dependent on what the other company, what the company does. So you could be the best person, but still fail. Or even at a sport, you could still be reliant on how your teammates do. So your results would be dictated by other people. And trading was one of the things that what attracted me was like, if I just do well, if I just manage myself, and if I just do well with the computer, there's no colleague, there's no office politics, there's no getting stuck in traffic, there's none of that. So that really attracted to me towards the business.
Man, I love all of that. And that really resonates with me as well. I identify as an introvert and I'm already do work. I'm a licensed chiropractor. And I went from like seeing 60 patients a day in very physical labor, but I also do utilization review. And utilization review, I'm sitting at my computer, I'm writing, I'm reading medical records. It's like a different way of being in the world. And I think because of my introversion, I'm like comfortable doing it. Like I don't think a lot of people would necessarily want to sit at a computer all day long. And in fact, that's one of the things they tell you. It's like, I don't want to be a trader. You're going to sit at you're going to be locked at your computer. But if you have that kind of gaming mentality and you're like, I feel kind of in the zone when I'm at my computer, you hear gamification of the stock market. But even when I was coming to learn of it from people like Robert Kiyosaki, is an early memory that I have of reading Rich Dad Poor Dad and having more of an interest in really understanding the stock market from something like that. But even he said it was a game, and this was before Robinhood was an app. So there already was an inherent gamification, I feel. This is getting a little into, when we used to debate it more. I don't think there's as much of a debate about it as much
Right.
as there once was. But I think to your point, where if you have that kind of background, you're like a gamer could actually do very well in the stock market. It's more than that, right? I don't want to oversimplify it. I think I got a little too divergent on the gamification stuff. Kind of took me on a tangent there. But so you went from not feeling good at math, not really knowing what you wanted to do, and not even imagining yourself in this kind of career,
Mhm.
to now you've really seen like the life cycle of this in sense of you know so much, it's almost like your time to contribute back. That so we're still talking about live traders.
Yeah, I started trading in 2010, and then live trading was started in 2015.
And that's what you've been doing. It's live traders. Because honestly, I've seen some other marketing material from you now. So do you have like another business?
No, it's just the same. So we have my personal website, unmol.net. So we have a mastermind group in there. So that's the Evolve Mastermind.
Okay.
And that's for, it's like a yearly program. It's like a high level group of people. They're all traders, they're all investors. But then we also have like business owners in there, some venture capital people, some people sold their company. We have even some doctors. We have tech people. So it's called Evolve Mastermind because a lot of us in the mastermind group, we master trading investing. We were making good money from it, but we weren't living life at the fullest potential. So they might be financially successful, but maybe their health is a mess, their relationships are a mess, or a lot of people in the group have several other businesses in addition to what they do with trading. So we try to level up all areas. So I teach all the topics in there about trading, investing, mindset, psychology. And then on other stuff, I bring guest speakers. So we have people who do trainings on business, on marketing, on growing your practice, and going over different businesses that you have in. So I'll bring on other speakers that have helped me in my company and my board of advisors. So they'll come on and then maybe want to do a session on health. So we had, Patrick Bet David, personal trainer, come on. He did a whole session on like health and wellness and optimizing yourself. And then we'll have somebody on spirituality. So that's what we call evolve. We're trying to evolve in all areas of our life after you've master financial success. So that's kind of what we do on my website. But they're all kind of the same business. Live Traders is just focused on trading, investing, courses, newsletters, the services. And then on my website where I do all the speaking, different events that I might be speaking at, my speaking career, and then the mastermind group, the books that I have, all the other stuff.
I love that. It feeds into the trader within because you're still evolving. Like this process, yeah.
It's a never-ending process. Like, because what else are you going to do with the rest of your life, right? You have to. If anybody says, "Oh, I'm 100% on all areas," I'm like, "You're lying. Nobody's at
right,
100% in all areas. Like, I'm
right.
probably at 50% of where I could be with my health, right? But doesn't mean I'm going to stop. You always aim for doing better. As long as you focus on constant improvement, even if a small percentage of improvements, if you just keep that focus in, then you want to try to get level. You want to build better relationships with your partner. You want to build better relationships with your kids. You want to have better relationships with your employees, even your customers. And then you will also want to have the mindset that's peak performance mindset. Then you also want to work on your health. And then, just like you, we have people who have 3, 4 businesses in addition to their trading. Now, how do we manage that? How do we put the team together so that your business can operate on a full potential, that you are building those businesses either to scale or to sell or as an additional cash flow instrument? So we try to help each other. It's kind of like what Napoleon Hill talks about in his book. And everybody says, I've read Think and Grow Rich. I'm like, really? You've read Think and Grow Rich? In the book, he talks about having a board of advisors. Even in the Bible, it talks about having a council of men. So who's in your board of advisors? And most people don't have it. So I'm like, so you've read the book, but you don't do anything in the book that he talks about. So that's what we try to do, is we apply everything we read. And this mastermind group is our board of advisors. So if somebody's like, I'm struggling with sales or something in a business, let me connect you with somebody, or let's have them come on and do a training for you in there. Or somebody's like, I'm crushing it in my business, my trading is going really well, but my relationship with my partner's not going well. I'll bring a different expert on that. So we try to help each other, and we do business with each other. We connect each other with people, and that's why these secret societies, as you might call it, succeed, because they all look out for each other. That's the purpose. There's nothing secret in a secret society like the Freemasons or all these other organizations. It's just that they are the board of advisors. We have people to run ideas off of. If there's a decision we're trying to make in our life, you have people to run it by that have your best interest at heart, and we all connect each other with different people. We do business with each other, and we all grow together.
I love that. It made me think of friendship versus mentorship.
Right.
So, a friend is someone that's going to support you no matter what. But when you're in an environment where everybody's goal is to get better. So when you're of that mindset, that's different than just, I'm going to support you. I'll be here for you because I love you. But I also want to be around people that are growing and want to grow and want to challenge me. This podcast. I almost don't know why I'm doing it, outside of the fact that in 2020, during the lockdown, I had some background in the stock market, just doing smaller position sizing, and then most of my money was professionally managed. there was like the market got set back 5 years, and all of a sudden, like all of this prior education that I had, I'm like, I think it's time to like, this is a window of opportunity to really get into it. And I'm bringing all this up because I didn't know how to read a chart. I had Investors Business Daily, but Investors Business Daily teaches you the cup and handle. So it's like volume and cup and handle. So it's like one strategy. It's very isolated, which is maybe helpful to a lot of people because then they don't have to overthink a lot of things. But when you get into technical analysis, I mean, it's its own ology of multiples. There's so many indicators that you can use and so many different ways to look at information that you're taking in. And without getting overwhelmed by it, I'm watching, like I think a lot of people do, are watching YouTube videos to educate themselves and like, okay, how do I gain this edge on the market that people talk about? So I'm watching YouTube videos like live traders, like Jared Wesley. I would watch him. He would do it every Wednesday night. He had the, what was that in the beginning with the email address? When will the insanity stop? And when he would read those, I'm like, oh my God, I could have written. Like, you just see the insanity over and over again. But I love the fact that he came out with such a it was almost angry. Everybody else is like, just do this and you'll get from 0 to 1,000 and how to grow your account fast. And there's like maybe it's just like an easy fluff to just to bait people in. And those people know what, I'm not saying those people don't know what they're doing, but you try to position things to get people in. But when I watch those videos, I'm like, it reminded me of being in chiropractic school with a professor, and having a professor be like, I'm not just going to give you the answers. Like, you got to work, you got to show up here and show that this is something that you really want to do. And he would do this whole stretched out hour-long video, and it was like a lecture. And he would even, I remember him saying during it, it's like, don't worry, we're going to look at charts. I know everybody wants to see charts, but it's like, you have to have something, again, going back to the mindset, you have to have something in your psychology that's just not looking at the lines on a piece of paper. And it's like, oh, it went up, so it's going to go up, or oh, it went down, or it's going to go down, or this is my indicator. Fibonacci is a big one, right? So it's like, okay, I know this is the level. In the beginning, we probably just assume they're 100%, or we know they're not 100%, but we hope they're 100%. But the more you trade, and in reality, you're like, this is like another layer of probabilities.
Yeah, I mean, and it's the same across the board. Trading is the same as any other business. So a good way to look at it, let's take your chiropractic practice, right? So you learn to do adjustments, you learn the body anatomy and all. That's the same thing as like learning how to read charts. So you learn how to read charts, you learn how the patterns. Same thing in the business. You learn how to do the adjustments, you learn how to read the anatomy of the body. But then, okay, but how do we run the business? That's a whole different ballgame, right? Running your practice, growing your practice. How do we have more chiropractors in the office? How do I make it 3 locations, 4 locations? That's all addition to that. So same thing with trading. You learn the pattern, great. What about risk management? What about money management? What about account management? What about now you're in a trade? How are you going to manage the trade? When you're going to decide when to get out? All these other things you have to take into account. And it's the same as any other business, right? You could learn how I'm going to buy this product. I'm going to sell this product in my business. Okay, great. But how do you manage the inventory, right? How do you manage all the other things? So I think all those things come into place, and it's the same as any other business. It's just you have to treat it like a business, and reading charts is just like step one. Reading charts is like the basic of learning how to be a chiropractor, but how to grow that business independent of myself so I don't have to be there. That's the next step. So I think that's the same thing with trading, investing.
Yeah. Have you gotten to that step? Are you in a position where you don't have to be trading? I mean, I talked to you the last time. I feel like you're still actively trading.
Yeah,
and even when you get to a certain level,
right,
you probably still want to trade.
Yeah, because it's like it's not any other additional work. It's just sitting on the computer and doing your thing. So it's like if it got overwhelming at some point, maybe like I don't need to do it. Like I have real estate, I have all these other things that even if I quit today, I'll be fine. But the reason I'm doing that is because it's a way for me to generate more cash, so I can buy more real estate. I can put more in my long-term investments. So that's how I look at it. Is if I can keep doing it, if it's making money consistently, then that's just additional way to feed my other ventures or other things that I might want to try to do. So it's a way to generate the cash, and then what you do with it is completely up to you. I don't think I'll ever quit trading because, again, I trade from like 9:30 to 11. Like, what else am I going to do? Like, if I'm not trading or coaching, then Like I don't have much to do. I'd get pretty bored. Like how many times can you play golf? Like how many times can you travel? Like I think it gets boring after a while. So I like it, and I like that. I like helping people. I like what it's doing for other people. That drives me a lot more. But as I do get more and more, like masterminds become my bigger focus because we're all multidimensional human beings. We're not one dimensional. So sometimes when I'm just coaching people on trading, yeah, that could get a little bit outdated because I'm more than that. I have more to share. I have more to give. I can share on how you can grow your business and all of that. So I want to sort of tie in everything. So it's like a community that trading is like a vehicle for us to make the money, but now what do we do with it? So I don't see myself really
Yeah.
stopping.
Yeah. No, but I that part really resonated with me because one of my recurring guests actually is a guy by the name of Jody Neighbors, and he just got into multifamily real estate, and he went from 0 doors to 1,100 doors in a year. So it's like this crazy cool story. But the reason I bring it up is because real estate's a whole nother animal. It's like when you're used to looking at charts, because I would talk to him about the stock market and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And like with the real estate, I'm trying to learn it, but it's like some of the things he says he's educating me because he's done it. So he's gone through the process. But I bring that up because I like the relationship that I have with him because you can make money in the stock. You can do things where you generate income. If you're day trading, like day trading is more about the job of it in the sense that that's maybe you're the young person, you got to get your feet wet, you're going to play around. And maybe even day trading from that perspective in the beginning is valuable because then you kind of see trades play out faster. They get more repetitive like this. But then as your thinking evolves, you're going to maybe entertain swing trading or do something else. And regardless, however you're generating income, whether it's through trading or some other vehicle, that income has to go somewhere. And once you put it in that investment, like a multifamily or real estate, like you're saying with real estate, you still need new income because once it's gone, it's gone. So, like, do you follow Grant Cardone? Do you listen to his stuff at all?
Back in the day, yeah, back in.
Okay. Yeah, here's this is kind of an aside because like I watched your channel. I already knew who you were. I get emails right now. Just everybody wants to not in a way like everybody wants to be a guest, but in the sense that, oh, we know your show. Would you be interested in doing this guest? And I get about 10 of these, maybe a week. And when Anmol's name came up, I was really excited to meet with him and have him on because he was one of the channels that I watched. But that I wanted to say earlier, and with regards to the Grant Cardone, with the YouTubers, a lot of was hearing his name, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. Like you said, you listened to his stuff years ago, probably,
Yeah,
or
a
whatever.
while ago. I was at his office a couple times in the past. We met in the past. He did a nice video for me in the back of the day saying, crushing it with trading, great job, like stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't. I followed him more for, I would say, the mindset of 10x, right? The motivational piece, not necessarily the work he does. Yeah, so I haven't really followed like his real estate or his sales or any of that. It was just more like I love people who are just like positive. I love people who
Yes.
are just on it, whether you like him or not, whatever you think of him, it's not
Right,
the
right,
point. It's
right.
just that I took what I needed at that point in my life to like, okay, I need to go more. I need to push harder. And I think there's a time and place for that in your season of your life where you want to push, and then the seasons where you want to grow and build. So I think in that time of the season of life, it was yeah, it was great.
I like how you frame that because I used to do Tony Robbins. He was like my intro into that world. Speaking of Tony Robbins, I was thinking of that book, The Power Within.
Yeah, that's
Unleash the
that's was
Power
my
Within.
inspiration for the name. His I attended his event in 2016 called Unleash the Power Within, and that's where I got the idea for the name of the book.
I love that. And it makes sense. Now I'm seeing like our tie in and our connection even because I did Tony Robbins in 2004 and I was graduating from chiropractic school. And to your point, it was like a time in life where I felt like I needed that little extra push. But then ideally, I think it's natural to like draw away from that. And when you draw away from that, it's not that you're quitting. It's to your point, you're growing in your own ventures. Like you've take in the information and then it's your time to apply that information.
Yeah, no, I think it's right. It's like you have seasons, and it comes and goes. Maybe one year you're feeling kind of like, yeah, I'm feeling a little complacent. I need a push. Go sign up or do whatever. Like do those events, get that motivation, get that push, but then do something with it. the trap that people fall into in these type of work is that they keep in the cycle of just, seminars,
Yes.
events, seminars, events, and
Yes.
they don't do anything. They don't apply anything. And you see the same people coming over and over for different events. I'm like, you've done this 5 times? Like, why aren't you doing anything with it? So I think that's the key is you take the lessons, but then now you got to apply it because your life only changes with your application and execution. Otherwise, you're just hoarding more information. And true knowledge is applied knowledge. Otherwise, it's just organized information that you're hoarding on to.
Oh man, I love the way that you said that. That's so true. I think I'm in one of those seasons in my own life with regards to the 10X because like I said, I didn't really know who he was. My daughter was in broadcasting. And so she was in high school a couple of years ago. She's in college now. But when she was doing broadcasting, it reminded me of when I was younger and I did a broadcasting class in high school and I really liked it. So I was like, oh, I think I want to do a podcast. And partly because of people like you, because of watching the YouTubers. And I was like, man, I feel like I've gotten so much and I want to know how to create content to give back.
Right.
And I bring that up in the context of as I started to go through the process, I didn't know what I didn't know. So like when you start a YouTube channel, you started one in 2015 and I don't know, you're much young, you're younger than me. So you're a little bit more in my mind, like a digital native. You're probably a millennial, right?
I think so. Yeah.
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 It's like, whatever, we're all people. But I'm thinking in my head, like, of coming of age of Facebook and Twitter when they were just texting in the sky and how it's evolved. So I'm thinking I'm going to do a podcast and I'm just going to be able to just record myself talking to somebody on a phone. And then I was just going to be able to push it up to Apple Podcasts and push it up to Spotify and just have things just, work like that. And so I enlisted my uncle, who's a retired actor, and he had done a podcast before. And he had some experience with it and he's an actor. So I thought, okay, he's going to bring some energy to it and everything. And so 6 months, we're just having these phone calls, but like, I don't have a single episode, like nothing's happening. So I hired a coach. I hired a podcast coach. To your point, like you go through seasons in life. I had done Tony Robbins, whatever it was, 20 years ago and didn't do anything after that and just did my life, like just grew my life. But then I got to a place where I wanted to venture into something new and I had to enlist help to do that. And in fact, I did that with trading too. Like I took options courses. I'm sorry, I'm killing you, man. You look tired.
No, all good, all good.
You're holding back those yawns. I know, I've been there, dude.
Yeah,
my wife,
all good.
Sometimes I get going and I can see like my wife just like she's like this. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm done talking.
It's not you. I had a late night, but like I'm still on it.
But yeah, I think just to bring it back to your book and The Trader Within and your journey, like I love it. It's that Siddhartha type story where you just want to see, you're a seeker. You're looking for something, you don't know what it is. And then you find yourself on a path. And then once you're on the path, you're kind of always looking for the final destination, but that final destination is a myth. And so, yeah.
No, there is no destination. It's just like constant improvement, right? Destination, sometimes we put like a number. If I get this number, I've reached the top. But what happens is life adjusts. Humans are very adaptable. So if you never made $100,000, when you make it, well, your life adjusts to that level. Now you're going to make more. And then you make 500,000 or you make 1 million, but then your life adjusts to that. So it's like a never ending journey. But that's the beauty in it. Like you got to learn to enjoy that. Like I enjoy learning. Like for some people it's different. I get it. Like I have a friend of mine, like he goes through some business struggles, I share with him all these resources. Hey, watch this video, watch this course, watch this or that. And then he doesn't do it, right? Because that's not his natural value system. Or for a lot of people, it feels like work, learning. For me, like I'm a lifelong learner. That's what I wrote about in my book, Prepping for Success, is be a lifelong learner. And like I genuinely enjoy it. I'm very curious. And I think that's the difference maker between, people who learn and it feels like work, or if they take a course or a seminar, it feels like they're working. For me, like I enjoy it so much. So I am very curious. Like I'm always learning, just like you mentioned. Like I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch, TV shows. I don't really watch a lot of sports, but I will watch a podcast. I will listen to something. I'll, watch a lot of those things because I just love new stuff that I wasn't aware of because that's stretching me, that's growing me. And in certain ways, like I learned things like I'll take like courses on stuff that I have no intention of ever going into that field, right? But I'll still learn because it just builds you as a well-rounded person. So when somebody comes to me with a challenge, like I've already have something on that, right? So I think you develop the mindset, books, podcasts, audiobooks. Like I surround myself with that, and to me, it's like it's not work at all. Like I really enjoy it. So I think curiosity is the biggest kind of success key to learning and to get better in any endeavor is if you're genuinely curious about it. If you're only in the business to make money, you're not going to last very long. When things get tough, you're going to want to quit. But when you're curious, you're like, why did that not work? Right? How could I make that work? Right? What if I did it this way? What if I did it that way? Like those right questions, what Carol Dweck talks about in her book Mindset, having the growth mindset. Not what's going wrong or why it didn't work. Okay, how do we fix it? What are we going to do about it? And that's how I use even with my team. If my team comes with the challenge, oh, this is not going that well, I'm like, great. What are you going to do about it? And then changing the conversation on what's next is, I think, a biggest success key in any endeavor.
I love that. Now we have something to offer the audience in a sense that your first book was the mindset. I'll put a QR code up for your book, but why don't you just give it a little pitch?
Yeah, I mean, so this is a book that originally I wrote to myself for myself on notes on things that I need to do in my own life to achieve the level of success. So I spent, more than $500,000 probably at this point on like coaches, mentors, seminars, masterminds, retreats, like really like working on myself. And then I took, okay, what is the common theme from everything that I've learned? What is something that everybody's saying? So I ignored a lot of the things that maybe one person said, but other person didn't agree with. I took, where's the consensus? Like, what is like the surefire ways that I've seen? And I wrote it down for myself. Okay, I need to do these 10 things. I need to live in this way, and then I will get the success that I want. And then I went out and applied it, and I lived my life by that, right? Applying these 10 keys every single day. And then I got the great level of success that I wanted. So that's when I was like, okay, wow, it actually works. Like if I put it in a book format, it can help a lot of other people that don't have the time that I spent doing all these things or don't have the money that I spent to do all these things. If I can just give it in a book format to them, then it'll change everything for them. So it's kind of like a book that I wrote. I wish somebody gave me like 20 years ago. Would have made life so much easier if I just lived by that rules. And that's kind of why I wrote it. And yeah, I'd love to give it free for your listeners. They could just go to go.unmol.net. They can just cover shipping, and then wherever in the world you are, we'll ship it out to you.
Great. I'm going to add links, so I'll have in text up on here, and we'll have a QR code. And I think that's such a fantastic thing to offer people. Like I feel a real kindred spirit with you. Like everything you says, yeah, no, I really do. Like because I identify with the introversion, I identify with being a lifelong learner. I identify with just wanting to be pushed and challenged, but not pushed, but because push sounds forceful. It's like a powerful thing where you're curious and you're being pulled forward rather than like, oh, this is something I have to do. This is something that this other person wants me to do. You spoke on freedom, and I think people who go into trading as a profession or interested in this kind of study are attracted to the idea of independence, like financial independence. But it's more like you're saying, it's more than even just the money, because the money is just going to keep going up in terms of what's enough. So like the money is part of the growth process, but you have to get into the mindset to even value that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think people's financial situation is a direct proportion to your mindset where it stands right now. So like when people say, I'm not able to achieve the level of success or this, I'm really pushing hard in my business. Like when did you work on yourself last? Because your internal mindset is just a reflection of your financial lifestyle. So once you get your identity up to a level, then the financials will automatically catch up to your new identity. But if your identity is here and your finances are here, that's when we create somehow issues in our business to bring us back to what our identity says it is. So that's why when people sometimes see quick success, they make great amount of money in the stock market or any other business, whatever, but the identity is still of somebody who makes $100,000. Then eventually they're going to end up finding ways to give back that money to meet their identity. But if your identity is at $1 million and you're at $200,000, eventually your money is going to work its way to your identity. It's just like a thermostat, right? So if your thermostat's set at 71, it gets cool. Then, well, the heat turns on and brings it back to 71, and vice versa. So I think you have to change your identity to that level. And that happens with curiosity. That happens with wanting to learn more, wanting to get better. And all the other things that I talk about in my book is to work on that piece because that's the foundational element.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. And it just brings me back to even the concept of 10x. It's all a multiple. So in the beginning, I think of like a 5-figure trader versus a 6-figure trader versus a 7-figure trader. And so like I hear these numbers and I remember early on just wanting a definition. It's like that curiosity part. I'm like, what exactly does that mean? And I think there's maybe different ways to look at it. I won't go too much into that. I'm going to tell you this one thing. It's so silly. It's like something I tell my wife, and I'm curious for someone who actually has the mindset. If I think you'll get it when I say it, but I'm like, I want to be in a place where I can lose $1 million. So it seems absurd to say out loud, but I think about Grant Cardone saying, I want to go broke. Like your goals, like I want to go broke by the end of the year. It's like that whole idea of staying hungry. But in this case, it's not that idea.
Oh yeah, and we get this all the time with traders too. Like when we talk about taxes and stuff like that, and people are like, "Oh my God, you paid that much in taxes?" I'm like, "I wish I paid twice the amount next year." I'm not worried about paying taxes, right? I just wish I pay more next year. That means I'm doing well. And then people are like, "Oh, why are you living in New York? You're gonna pay an extra 8.5% just to live in New York City. The rents are so high." I'm like, "I wish I have to pay twice the amount next year." Right? That God put me in a position to be able to pay more. So yeah, so it's like I don't look at it like try to save on taxes or save on these small little things. I'm like, okay, how can I get that paid triple that next year? Ask for
Yeah,
more taxes because that means you're doing well.
that's interesting. I could see that evoke a lot of different emotions from a lot of different people. But you totally get it because that's exactly where I was getting at with it's some number to use your example, taxes, to being able to take a loss. But if you know that loss is in relationship to something else, so if I was said I'm able to take $1 million hit, that means I'm trading on some level of volume that would allow me to sustain that because a million of 100 million is just 1%.
Right.
So it's like you look at things in the percentage and relativeness versus the whole numbers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Man, I honestly I feel like I could talk to you a little bit longer, but I want to keep it short for us and keep it tight. And I know you and I talked about. It's funny because I was thinking about this in more of a gimmicky way, but one of the things that I liked about what you and I are talking about now is I think you can go onto YouTube and there's so many people, hundreds of thousands of people better than me that can just like I'm watching these videos now because everybody, like to your point, everybody wants to get better. So I'm like, okay, I got to do the hook. I got to think about the title. So I'm thinking about all these things, but I'd like to think one of the unique things that I'm bringing, and it's in the spirit of live traders, is that conversational, real aspect of it, not just the clickbait. I think it all has relevance. Like I needed that stuff to want to do other things. But then you get to a certain point and you want a little bit of depth and richness to give the other things a broader context. And I think that's what you're doing when you're talking about the mindset and bringing the psychology.
Yeah, because if you take a look, I mean, the social media, you're absolutely right. Like, we got to do all these different things, and it's kind of annoying, even when I try to do it. But if you really look at it, the top podcasts or the top YouTube channels, they are conversational. They just have good conversations. Like Joe Rogan, there's no like clickbaity title. It's just like, hey, Joe Rogan with this person, right? Or if you look at the top podcasts, they're all conversation. None of them do the hook story close thing or any of that stuff. Those are done at a smaller level to build the audience in the beginning, right? To build the audience to get some attention. But once you get it, then people want to see authentic conversations, because if all it is just like a hook or this and there's no substance to it, then eventually those podcasts don't last because people move on. You might get the initial attention, but if you don't keep the attention, they're going to leave. And then the podcasts that have kept the attention, like Joe Rogan, some of the other ones that I watch, are more conversational and have some depth to it. I think those are the ones that last like a much longer time, because these algorithmic things come and go, they change, but the
Right.
true content will always stay.
I'm thinking about your book now, how you said you wrote the book for you. Like you wrote the book for you to reflect back to yourself what you've learned. And that's what I think about these podcasts. Like, I'm having conversations with people I want to have conversations with, and people I've watched and people I've seen, and I want to have like a broader depth of understanding.
Right.
So yeah, in terms of the podcast aspect of it, I like that. And here's the thing with Joe Rogan, because I know my podcast coach when I first started with them. They're like, now, if you think you're going to be like Joe Rogan, and I was like, I have no delusion that I am not going to be like Joe Rogan. But what I do like about Joe Rogan, and to your point, it's not clickbait. Like, one of the strongest thing I can think of that he has when he comes out with a new episode is number 2000 something, right? It's like the guy's just stacking them. And so it's a different way to look at it. And I think in terms of longevity, like, you going kind of back to what you said with traders, like coming in, it's like a revolving door. You're not going to stick around if there's not something that you're getting from it. So yeah, for you, you were talking about being a lifelong learner and being curious and wanting to figure it out. And then the more you figure out, you realize, oh, there's more to figure out. There's more to figure out. So, and that's for some people, that's a draw. And I would assume someone listening to this podcast, that's a draw. So that's maybe even not a big deal to mention. Do you have any final thoughts you would like to leave the audience with?
Yeah, I think I'll touch on like one of the success keys that's in the book. So that's I would say, the foundational key. Like, without that, nothing else would matter, right? Which is integrity, which is do what you said you're going to do, and then do it when you said you're going to do it, and do it whether you feel like it or not, doing it because it's the right thing to do. So doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. If you live your life by that, then everything will magically start to work out in your life. And I think a lot of people say they want to do something, but they don't do it, right? Like, how many people in 2019 or something were like, oh yeah, I want to start my side gig, I want to start my side hustle, I want to start a business or a podcast, but I just don't have the time. And then 2020, you had all the time in the world, right? But they still didn't do it. So there's a disconnect between what they say they want, but what their actions are showing that they want. And with that, you're never going to achieve your goals. Or like, oh, I'm going to start this from Monday, and then Monday comes, but it's the 28th of the month. So you're like, well, I'll just start from the first. And then the first comes, but it's November. I'll just start from January 1st. And we just keep moving the timelines forward on our own goals. So the key is to like do it when you said you're going to do it, right? That's the biggest success key, is to live by your word, honor your word. And that way it'll improve all aspects of your life. Because if I do what I said I'm going to do, and I do it when I said I'm going to do it, well, then I'm naturally going to keep leveling up, and I'm going to keep hitting my goals. And then my team will trust me because they know when, Anmol says you're going to do something and he gives us a date, it's going to be done by then. So that builds trust with my team. And now I'm leading by example. So they'll know the same thing to do as well. When they say they're going to do something, it should be done by when they said they're going to do it. And I think a lot of people say, but like, I'm a person of integrity. I'm like, really? When is the last time somebody called you and said, hey, and you said, hey, I'm just in the middle of something, let me call you back, and you never did? Or you ran into an old friend at a airport or shopping mall, you're like, hey, so good to see you, buddy, we should totally make plans to catch up, and then you never make any follow-up attempts to catch up with them. So you just said something that you didn't mean, right? Like, why is that? It's a mindset shift, right? Because we're trying to be polite, we're trying to be nice, but what you're really doing is you're not honoring your word. And that is a vicious cycle, because when you don't believe in your own word, then unconscious mind, next time you say you're going to do something, your unconscious mind's like, he's not going to do it. He just says things. He's not going to do it. And that leads into low self-confidence, low self-esteem. And you go over breaking your word again and again and again. It's just like a cycle that keeps repeating. So you have to break that cycle by doing what you said you're going to do, and then putting it into your calendar. If you said, I'm going to do this by Monday by 2 p.m., great. There better be a time slot on your calendar assigned to do that task. So things that get scheduled get done. Things that don't get scheduled is just up in the air as wish and hope.
That was great. Yeah, that's a great high note. And I hope people take that to heart. It was really a pleasure having you on Anmol. And
I'm glad we were able to do this the second time around.
Yeah, and actually it was kind of neater doing it the second time around, because the first time around, it was like the first time I was even talking to you. And sometimes I'll do a preliminary call just to see what my rapport is like with somebody. And so at least like on the last one was almost like we were building rapport with each other. Because on this one, I just jumped right into the trading talk, which was fun because like that's a whole nother layer of it. I had like different ideas where I was going to have you go through my account or have you watch a trade of mine which I still think it would be fun to do. And especially now that we have a little bit more rapport with each other, the next time I have you on, I'll put some video up, or I'll have a chart up of some trades I have going on, and you could maybe model some of what you're doing.
Sure.
Because the coaching aspect of it, when I started, like I said, the podcast, I wasn't doing anything for 6 months. I said I was going to do something. I felt it in my head to do it. I was telling my kids I was going to do it, and I had no product for 6 months. So I had to be really honest with myself. And that's when I reached out for help outside of me. I was like, hey, if I could have done this, I would have done it already. And that's where getting into a group or a mastermind can help facilitate that, is not to your point, going back to integrity. And I was even thinking with integrity, like freedom, the freedom that trading provides comes with your ability to be integrous. So
Pretty
if you're
much,
coming
yeah.
with it, right?
Yeah, because if you say you're going to take a profit at this price, then we'll take it, right? Or if you say I'm going to get out if it hits this stop loss, well, then take your stop loss. It's all about following through on your word, and that's what discipline comes from. Discipline is just you being able to follow through on your word. That's literally all of life. It's like a universally applicable principle, whether it's related to health. I want to get better shape. Okay, great. What are we doing to get to that better shape? Right? It's like all these things come in together, and timelines, deadlines, and you keep meeting them if you stay true to your word. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then how do you expect the clients to believe in you? How do you expect the universe to believe in you if you don't follow through on your own word? So I think it's like the foundational piece, because you can learn all the strategies in the world, but if you don't apply it, well, it's not going to work, right? If you learn everything you need to know, you hire the best coaches, and they tell you, okay, how do you take your chiropractic practice to like next level? We got the information and the knowledge, but if you don't apply it, if you don't live in integrity and follow through, then none of that's going to work. So the whole of life only changes when we follow through on our word and honoring our word and making sure our word means something. Otherwise, don't say it. Like, I'm very conscious on the words that I use with the mouth, because words are vibrations, right? And it says in the Bible right there, in the beginning, there was a word. It all starts from the word. So the words create those vibrations. Vibrations, put it out in the universe, creates the energy. And now if you execute on that energy with taking the right actions, that's what in the Hindu books, the Gita, they talk about the karma. So when people think with karma is like, oh, what goes around comes around, but that's not true. That's not how it's taught. The way it's taught is you keep doing the right actions that need to be done every day. And then eventually that karma, that work that you're doing, will get you to your predetermined destiny. But if you never do the karma, never do the work, then you're never going to meet your full potential.
It frames karma in a I think unique perspective, but in a different way than you're used to thinking about it. To your point, man, that was awesome. Like I said, I really feel like I could talk to you more, and I think I'm going to be talking to you more, and we'll figure out something fun to do on the next one. But just even having this conversation, I really appreciate having you on. And I hope for the viewers, there was some nuggets in there. I felt enlightened from having this conversation. I actually love going back on these, and I was listening to Anmol talk, and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go and edit and see what's going to be highlighted, because there was a lot of wisdom, which is a nice thing to have. Yeah, absolutely.
Great chatting with you.
Yeah. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody, and Anmol, please stay on. You and I will chat a little bit more, and we'll see you on the next one, everyone. Happy trading and investing.
Yes. I would say the foundational key, like without that, nothing else would matter, right? Which is integrity, which is do what you said you're going to do, and then do it when you said you're going to do it, and do it whether you feel like it or not, doing it because it's the right thing to do. So doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. If you live your life by that, then everything will magically start to work out in your life. And I think a lot of people say they want to do something, but they don't do it, right? Like how many people in 2019 or something were like, oh yeah, I want to start my side gig, I want to start my side hustle, I want to start this business or a podcast, but I just don't have the time. And then 2020, you had all the time in the world, right? But they still didn't do it. So there's a disconnect between what they say they want, but what their actions are showing that they want. And with that, you're never going to achieve your goals.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Money Adjustment. If you want more, like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on X at Mark Kramer. Until the next episode, stay healthy and wealthy.